Well, everyone, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live on this Tuesday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Hey there, Marcus. I'm glad to have you here on this Tuesday evening, and I am doing absolutely amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Could not be better. I just wrapped up my weekly podcast with my man JJ over on Greenville Sports Media. If you have not checked out their YouTube page, please do so over at Greenville Sports Media. They have not only wrestling talk, but also basketball talk, also football talk, and you never know what else you'll find over on Greenville Sports Media. So check out their YouTube page and also the website. I'm on with my man JJ just about every single week, talking wrestling and racing. Good evening, Kevron. Glad to have you here. And Marcus and Kevron, I hope y'all have an amazing Thanksgiving week and Thanksgiving Day. I know I love this time of the year because it's the one time of the year that you can feed your face and don't get questioned about it. Every day you're a fat butt and you eat too much. But on Thanksgiving time, it's, are you full? You good? Did you get enough? You want some more? Hey there, Molly. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Evelyn. Glad to have you here. And hey there, Dinah. Glad to have you here. Glad all y'all are here on this Tuesday evening. And I will, Marcus. Anytime I get to eat, I'm a happy man. And Mally and Dinah and Evelyn, I think it's the first time I've seen y'all's name in the comment section. If it is y'all's first time being here, for whatever reason made y'all stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. And feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. And Angeli, I'm hoping that's how you pronounce your name, and I'm glad you told me that because I was going to continue calling you either Dinah or Felice, but your name is Angeli. So, Angeli, glad to have you here. And if you watch the channel about every day and comment about every day, I'll remember that. But if you leave and don't come back for 6 months, I probably won't remember that. I'll remember that you said call you something besides what the screen says, but I probably won't recall what it was. So, Angeli, glad to have you here. But since it is a Tuesday night, we've already kicked off the final week of the regular season in the world of college football. So tonight we got to talk about the new college football playoff poll. At the top, we still have Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech. And we have Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma's all the way up to number 8. Notre Dame and Alabama round out the top 10. And when I get done running down the top 25, I've got a couple of thoughts about the whole entire list as a whole. I probably won't, Marcus. I can't say for sure that I won't, but I probably won't most of the time at our two family get-togethers. We don't have turducken, but I'm also not a big fan of turkey as a whole. Good evening, Victoria. Glad to have you here on this Tuesday evening. I mean, I'll eat turkey. If somebody else fixes me a plate and puts turkey on the plate, I'll eat it. But just in general, as a whole, if it's me fixing the plate, I'll leave the turkey off. I'm just not a big fan of turkey. Hey there, Tracy. Glad to have you here. To me, turkey is just too dry. Now, it's a lot better the next day. I'm not sure why, but it's a lot better the next day. But just as a whole in general, I'm a huge meat connoisseur overall in general, but not turkey. And Tracy and Logan, I think it's the first time I've seen y'all's name in the comments section. If it's y'all's first time being here for whatever reason, y'all decided not to stop by the channel. Thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. We have number 11, BYU. Number 12, Utah. 13 is Miami. Hey there, Braden. Glad to have you here. 14 is Vanderbilt, and 15 is USC. Then we have Georgia Tech, Texas, Michigan, Virginia, and Tennessee. And then rounding out the top 25, we have Illinois, Missouri, Houston, Tulane, and the Sun Devils of Arizona State. Now, I run down this because I know the diehard college football fans love it, but I think everybody's watched the channel enough to know by now that I don't care nothing about any of the polls. To me, they're fun to talk about, but too many people put too much credence in the polls. And I've said since the whole playoff poll started that I didn't like it. I still don't like it. I was fine with the BCS poll. To me, go back to that, because the BCS poll was supposed to be just based on a computer ranking. Well, the playoff poll, for the most part, is still computer rankings. So instead of a computer deciding 2, it decides 12. Either way, it's a computer ranking. So what's the difference? There is no difference. It's just a way for college football to make more money, because instead of 2 playoff teams, you've got 12. So instead of 2 markets watching the football, you have 12. But it's still the computer deciding it. But my biggest issue is they claim that they watch all these games. It's a possibility, Marcus. It all depends on how the playoff bracket unfolds. Ohio State and Georgia might play in the second round. If so, well, then they can't play for the national championship. But it could definitely happen if things, break the right way. But if you actually believe that these people sit down and watch every single game, you're clueless. The only way they could watch every single game is if they sit down and watch 1/4 of this game, 1/4 of this game, 1/4 of this game. But that's not fair, because you do that, there's a chance you're going to see one team's best quarter and you're going to see another team's worst quarter. But there's not enough time on planet Earth for somebody to sit down every Sunday and watch 100 football games. You just can't do it. So there's no way that they're watching all these games. It's not possible. So what happens is, just like with the AP poll, just like the BCS poll, you're ranking a lot of these teams based on their tradition, their history, who their coach is, their colors, their quarterback, their fan base, and none of that's fair. You should rank a team based on how you feel about them after you watch them. But since nobody can watch every game, that's what happens, and it's not fair. So you always have teams getting shown favoritism based on all the things I just mentioned. So it's not fair. So if you're going to rank teams and be unfair about it, just go back to the BCS system. You know, Alabama was brought up the other day by somebody, because apparently ESPN just basically said, Alabama just feels right. Even though, they just lost a couple of weeks ago, even if Alabama loses to Auburn this weekend, they're going to get in because they're Alabama. But the problem with it is, I saw the other day that some playoff chairperson said that right now Notre Dame and Miami are not even in the same stratosphere because Notre Dame has lost to much better teams than Miami has lost to. First of all, hey there, James. Glad to have you here. And hey there, Malik. Glad to have you here. First of all, I want to know, when did we start focusing on a supposed quality loss? To me, a loss is a loss. I don't care if you lose by 1 point or 50 points. And if you lose to the best team or the worst team, it means the same thing. You lost the game. But all of a sudden, the last couple of years, we're starting to focus on who you lost to, and we're putting more stock in who you lost to than we are who you beat. And I mentioned this last year. That makes absolutely 0 sense. Why does it matter who you lost to? You lost the game. And if you start telling people, well, you got a quality loss, then all of a sudden you're going to have a team that goes 7-5 say, well, it don't matter. All five of our losses come to top 10 teams, so we're a playoff team. Well, that's dumb, because then all of a sudden losing doesn't matter, and losing should matter. So why do we all of a sudden have quality losses? There's no such thing as a quality loss. If you lose, it shouldn't be quality. You got beat. And thank you for subscribing, James. I greatly appreciate that. But second of all, last I checked, Miami and Notre Dame played, and Miami won the game. So if you're going to have Notre Dame ahead of Miami, even though they played head to head and Miami won, then basically you're telling me that either what happened in September doesn't matter, or you're telling me that head to head doesn't matter. Well, what happens in September should matter, even though we do that a lot, where we become prisoners of the moment and recall what we just saw this past weekend, not what we saw 2.5 months ago. When the reality of it is, September was still this football season. Miami beat Notre Dame, and that should mean something. So if Notre Dame is ahead of them and Miami beat them, and you're telling me they're not in the same stratosphere because Notre Dame lost to much better teams, reality, we know the answer to the question. It's because it's Notre Dame. That's all you got to say. But of course, they're not going to say that, so they got to move the goalpost to try to give you reasons why it is the way it is, instead of coming out and saying they're Notre Dame. They're going to make the playoffs, even though that's really the true story. But if you're going to tell me head to head doesn't matter, then why play the game? And I understand if Notre Dame lost to Miami, but Notre Dame still only had that one loss and Miami had two. Then I could see, well, the Hurricanes beat them, but Notre Dame only has that one loss and Miami has two. But when both teams have the same exact record and they played head to head, the team that won should be ranked higher than the team that lost, because the team that won proved they were the better team than the team that lost. So Miami proved they're better than Notre Dame because they played and they beat them. And since they have the same exact record, Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame. Notre Dame should not be ranked higher just because they lost to much better teams. They lost. That's all that matters. They lost. So you can't tell me head to head doesn't matter. And if you tell me that September doesn't matter, then if you're a top 5 team, why wouldn't you, the first month of the season, play the number 1 team in every conference? Start the season. If you're in the SEC, play all your non-conference games first of the season. Play the best team in the Big 10, best team in the Big 12, the best team in the ACC. Heck, even go out there and play the best team in the American Conference. If you lose all 4 games, it doesn't matter. It's September. By the time we get to November, nobody recalls September. So it doesn't make sense. It's because it's Notre Dame. They're one of the teams that's going to get favoritism. But you can't come out and say that, so you have to make up other excuses instead of coming out and saying, but even though we know that's the reality, Notre Dame gets favoritism because they're Notre Dame. Bama gets favoritism because they're Alabama. That's just the way it is. But you can't come out and say that. So I think since you still show favoritism and people still vote, just like the AP poll and coaches poll, you still vote based on what you know this team's done in the past. You know their history. You know their tradition. You know their head coach. You like their colors. And that's not why you vote for teams. If you're still going to do that, just like the AP poll and coaches poll, get rid of it. Let the computers do all the voting because the computer doesn't know a team's history. A computer doesn't know their tradition. A computer doesn't care who their coach is. All they know is what they see. So a computer doesn't show favoritism. So if you're going to show favoritism, just let a computer do it. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Doctors say there are 8 million overweight people in the world. These are just rounded figures. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.